My name's Mary Lily.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we're the hosts of Unveiled Opinions.
Three newly and almost wed girlies with a podcast on any and everything wedding related.
Hey girlies, how's it going?
Pretty well. What about y'all?
It's good.
Monday's gonna Monday.
Is it Monday? Yes. Sorry.
Another Monday with the girlies.
The best Mondays.
Yes, the best Mondays.
The rosé helps too.
Yeah, the rosé always helps.
And the water, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A wedding girly.
wedding diet.
Yeah.
We're the wedding bridesmaid diet, fueled by rosé and Savvy B.
Exactly.
What's new with everybody?
I don't think anything. Nothing going on.
Nah, yeah.
That's
all
nice,
I have
though.
is like wedding stuff that's I don't want to bore you with. But you were at a wedding this weekend, Kate.
Yes, had a wedding. The follow-up from the civil ceremony, which was a couple weeks ago. So we had the backyard portion of the ceremony, which was so fun. It was for my brother and his wife, Alex.
His new bride.
Yes, his bride. And so they had a backyard wedding at my parents' mountain house outside of Asheville. And it was a lot of fun. We used the same, or they hired the same planner that did our wedding. And so she was there all weekend.
Amy.
Yeah, Amy.
Shout out.
And just, it was definitely gave me a lot of Father of the Bride vibes because it was, my mom was up at 6 a.m., which isn't necessarily normal for my mom. Love you, Mom. A lot of days it is normal, actually. I'm so sorry.
I'm not one person either.
And by 8 a.m., she was like, all right, we need to start setting up. Amy was like just getting ready, having a coffee. And
Wait, did Amy stay at the house with y'all?
yeah, she stayed at the house because she's like literally family friends now.
Yeah.
My parents had dinner with her and her husband recently, and like they just hang out now.
Well, that's cute.
Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
So yeah, she stayed at the house and she got no break from the madness.
Neen.
Yeah.
24 hours of Neen.
I know. They had a ball though. It was funny. Late night coming down and then just like having wine on the patio
God.
after. So the backyard ceremony, and then we came back to Charlotte and they had kind of their friend reception and family reception at the country club.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
The flower pictures you sent were so pretty.
Yeah, so pretty.
I know. Amy did those, some of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Multi-talented.
Yeah. It was all hands on deck.
Sounds like it.
Well, good segue for today's topic of planning your ceremony. So this can be one of the most daunting parts of planning your wedding,
For sure.
but because there's a lot that goes into it of like readings, music, florals, seating options, backdrops, everything in between. But it really is the backdrop of where you will actually get married to your future spouse.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like hard, especially like being in planning right now to like remember sometimes like that you're planning the whole thing to like get married to your spouse, because like
Yeah.
sometimes it does feel like it gets like away from that. So like
Yes.
I guess this is the most important part.
I always remember talking to Gil about it, and we were like, the ceremony is like for the couple, and then the reception's for your guests.
Oh, I
So
like that.
true.
I read something too, and it was that the ceremony should be a combination of each of your past, your present, and your future as a couple.
That's a lot to include in a ceremony.
I don't think it's like totally all encompassing, but it's like to be considered.
Yeah.
Oh.
And have like the vibe of like
Yeah.
you as a couple.
Oh.
Yeah. And like how you want to live your life, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think kind of goes into like the different ceremony style options, because it's like if you are both really outdoorsy, then maybe you want an outdoor ceremony. Or
If you're Marshall and you want a ceremony outside at the beach, then
Not
You're
actually on
beachy.
the
that takes 10 minutes then.
12, but yes.
who was counting? Marshall.
Not me. No, my officiant. He was like, I had 12 minutes. I hope that was good for you. And I was
Oh my
like, that was
gosh.
absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
That is so funny. But yeah, then there's like, I mean, a church or a chapel, if like religion is a big part of both of your lives, a backyard wedding, if it's like really important to just have family, or like a civil ceremony,
or like if like you grew up at like your family's house and stuff.
Yeah.
I always think that's really cool. Or there's also like eloping. And then always having the party after, which I feel like is becoming more and more of a thing with COVID.
Yes, definitely.
Speaking of, that was almost like kind of what I had to do.
Yeah.
I know I've like told you guys, I'm going to tell you what happened to my wedding planning the whole time. So here it is. I know I wanted to really get married in this beautiful church in Asheville, and it's actually Basilica. And the guy who built the Biltmore, it was that architect actually who designed the church. So I really wanted to get married there. And they called me kind of after we had a lot of stuff set up, and we're actually having construction done on the roof, and we can't have your ceremony here. So that kind of like threw a wrench in it, because we had like signed contracts with everyone else. We couldn't really change our reception date. So we moved our ceremony, and it was going to be like Thursday morning, afternoon. And we were going to have like a small private ceremony in Charlotte with really just our families, and then have everyone go to Asheville Friday morning for like the reception and everything, and just have a dinner Friday night. And kind of most of our guests would come up Saturday morning even. So then, we had like put down a deposit at my home church, and I like came to like grips with it. I was like, whatever, this is where I grew up. Like, it'll be great. You know, I bought a second dress. All of these things were like drawing up invitations. And then the other church emails me and was like, construction was postponed. And so it was like this whirlwind of like canceling what we had planned and rearranging everything. And like, we had gone to all our vendors once and then gone back and changed everything. So it was a lot. Like, I feel like just in the middle of planning to completely reroute. But like I said, I just really wanted to get married in that church. It's just gorgeous. And so that was really important to me on my ceremony.
Yeah.
And I always imagined myself getting married there. Like, the day we went there, and they were like, we think you guys are like we think you guys are the weekend right before we start construction, and like you guys are set. And we went there, and they were saying the mass for my grandfather, but it wasn't actually for my grandfather, but it was someone with the same name. And I was like, this is a sign, like, I'm going to get married here. And it was so weird. And like, I don't know like how it all changed, but like, then I ended up getting married there. So it was weird, but
it was a roller coaster, but it all worked out.
Yes, exactly.
Not without some extra additional emotions.
Yeah.
Roller coaster.
Yeah.
The moving parts move.
Yeah, that they did. Marshall, for you, how did you and Gail decide on your ceremony location and just overall style?
So we wanted to have everything in the same location, the like reception all on the same property. That was really important to us. And then where our venue, most people do the ceremony outside overlooking like the golf course, but I wanted to do a tinted reception.
Sure.
So I actually, my planner was like, I've been to one wedding here where they did the ceremony in front of the clubhouse, and you have like the oak and like the live oaks or whatever like behind it. It's like really beautiful. She's like, I don't know why more people don't do that.
Yeah.
So we talked with Ashley, my planner suggested it. We talked with Annie, the coordinator at the venue, and she's like, we can totally do that. So that's how we decided on it. Gil was very like, whatever you want to do, I'll do it. Like, he was very easy to work with on like that aspect. It kind of just was what I wanted. So that actually made it
that was nice.
Yeah.
But I always knew I wanted to get married outside, not because I'm outdoorsy, just because I like the look,
the aesthetic,
not because I want to hike or anything.
Right. Well, I guess I always like thought I would get married in the Catholic Church. I just like cradle Catholic, grew up, and then
thankfully married.
Yeah, I'm marrying someone who's kind of the same. So that was kind of decided but we knew that. So,
Yeah.
Well, if we got married in either Rock Hill, which I would get married in my home church, or if we got married in Charlotte, I would get married in my church here. But since we didn't go with either option, we're like, I don't have a church in place.
right.
Yeah.
So,
And the priest, sorry, one more thing before Kate asked about your ceremony. The priest in the mountains, he used to be in Charlotte. And so like my mother knows
I think I
him.
knew that too.
Yeah, and all this stuff. So we do have like connections and stuff with him up there. So like that was another reason we kind of wanted to be up there. Yeah, just because Matthew and I's pastor couldn't touch that.
yeah, sometimes it's kind of difficult to get your home pastor to like go to other locations. I know some are willing and some are not.
Right.
So,
Well, and so the diocese had to find like somebody. It's like basically like, thank God we knew the priest up there and like he like offered to do it for us. But technically, like if our church is sending us up there to get married, they're supposed to find an officiant. And so they'll look for like people who are like seminary and I forget, or like deacons at like surrounding churches near where you're getting married to try and find someone.
Yeah. No, then definitely adds another layer of planning.
I like didn't know that going into wedding planning. I just like assumed that like either.
Yeah, Marshall was like, "Can a notary?"
Well, I just like I was like, well, you know, I have two churches that like, you know, it's like surely one of them. My mom's like, they don't
do it. They don't travel.
Right. Well, Caitlin kind of had a mix. So you had your ceremony was outside, but you did have your home pastor.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of something interesting because when I was researching this and like talking, like it came up of like differing opinions in the planning process. And that's where actually reading the like, oh, your ceremony should be a combination of your past, your present, and your future as a couple, that actually resonated with me. I only learned that today.
That it resonated with you?
Well, I only heard that today and it resonated because I think that was kind of in Kyle and I's head when we were planning, because I was raised Irish Catholic on both sides of my family, but Kyle, was raised like Protestant Christian. And so for him, getting married in a Catholic church, that was never on his radar.
Right.
And so for me, I mean, I have a uncle who is a priest. My grandfather is a deacon. Like there was a plethora of people that were family members that could have married us if we chose to get married in a Catholic church or at least in a chapel. And so it really was kind of a culmination of like where we are in our present of like, we go to church, but like not Catholic currently, religiously, I guess. But like, yeah, anyway. And so the church that we go to, it was important to us to have like some type of religion as part of it. Yeah.
You wanted it to be like part of your spiritual life.
Yeah. And so, but we also wanted it to be like everything in one place. And so our ceremony and our reception was at the same location. And so that was great for me because I didn't want to be bopping around. And it did work out that we were able to have somebody from our church do the ceremony itself.
Right.
And be the officiant.
No, and I think that was cool because Matthew and I with the Catholic Church, we did have to do a bunch of what they call pre-Cana or like premarital stuff. And it was really nice to get to know like our church community. And like, I feel like we did a lot with them. And I feel like Caitlin, you went to dinner with your pastor a bunch. Like mine's not the same people marrying me, but I feel like I like got to my church kind of more through the marriage process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, I mean, I think that's something that Marshall, as you said, you were like, oh, obviously somebody will be able to officiate this wedding.
Yeah.
And then you had to start researching.
Yes. So the way it went for us was my planner, she always gives like, you know, her vendor list or whatever for everything. And then she's like, do you have an officiant? And I'm like, because, you know, a lot of people do, they're like have friends marry them or family members or something like that. But that wasn't really something we wanted. We wanted to, since we weren't getting married in a church, we still wanted that religious aspect because it is important to us. So one of the officiants that actually recommended is actually who we went with. And he is a Methodist preacher down in Pawleys Island and not Methodist. So Gil is Episcopalian, but he said he would convert to be Methodist for me. So
romance.
True love.
So that was nice that I met with, I think I got on a phone call with him And then we emailed a bunch back and forth, and I just like loved him. And then we vacation in Polly's and have like my whole life. And my mom is like friends with people down there, and they actually go to his church, and they're like, he is amazing. He's so well spoken.
Cool.
Like he's so sweet.
So you got some good firsthand feedback.
And, you know, he's worked with my planner before.
Yeah.
So I loved his style and everything. So he's also in the Knot, and I was able to like read reviews on him.
Yeah.
Which is so kind of bizarre. I thought it was like so like, oh, it's an officiant. Do they have reviews? But he did, and like he has like amazing reviews. He's just so sweet. Like,
that's funny that you can look up officiant reviews on the Knot.
Well, you can do that for all vendors.
But
if they're registered with the Knot. I heard from one of my vendors that it is a fee that you have to pay.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but he's on there. So.
Insider knowledge. So with that, so you were able to, again, kind of have some friends give firsthand experience and then also do your own research. How, if at all, did you kind of work with both of you, the officiant, to personalize the ceremony and get to know each other?
So I did not have to do premarital counseling. He did offer it. We talked about it, and it was just like, it was hard to get it to work.
Yeah.
Just with everything. I did talk to Benji more than Gil did.
Sure.
But then he also sent me, like, I guess, templates almost of like ceremonies he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And he asked, you know, getting to know him, he was like, do you want to do religious type ceremony? Do you not want any religion in it? You know, there's like more casual stuff like that. And I told him,
so he's really any flavor.
yeah. And he was like, you know,
Neapolitan.
he was
Rocky Road.
Neapolitan.
whatever you want, I can do it. Essentially, is what he was saying.
Vanilla bean.
But so he sent me like even like sample. I knew I wanted prayers in it, you know, certain scripture readings. I didn't want anyone to be a reader. I just kind of, like I said earlier, short and sweet.
Yeah.
So I essentially sent him the scripture readings I wanted. We worked with some wording.
Oh, that's nice. Did you pick? You and Gil pick those?
I picked them.
Yeah, pick them.
I picked them.
Sorry, Gil.
Yeah. I
Back that bus up over you.
I don't even think he knew. I mean, I like ran it by him, and he was like, "It sounds good."
That sounds great.
Yeah. So he's like, "I trust you in this."
Yeah.
I think he just didn't really also want to make a decision that I might not like, and then we have our back to square one on something, you know?
Yeah, he's like, let's not start over.
He just didn't. It wasn't, as we're saying, there's a lot that goes into it. He just didn't have this as a priority.
The capacity.
Yeah. And he's like, I will be there. And I will say,
that's enough.
I will say yes. Even though he did stumble through richer or poorer.
Oh, no.
Yes, he did.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Did you?
Yeah, we
you picked your readings.
I picked my readings, but the Catholic Church gives you options.
Yeah.
And then I did a lot of my mom's wedding songs.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it was nice to be able to like pick that with her. Yeah, Matthew helped a little, maybe. I don't know. My mom and I had to like go through all the readings and make sure there wasn't anything like weird in them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Or like make sure it's like the one that's like, I don't know.
What you actually want to convey.
Yes. So we did that.
That was
there any, like, I know one of the scripture readings Benji sent me, it was something about like, I don't remember which exact one it was. It was something about like, pretty much if you're with someone, it's better than being alone.
Oh.
And
like, what about all my single friends?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like they're
called out.
lesser than, because they're, you know, it's like probably old
single in my
Testament,
Right.
So I changed that one.
What about you, Caitlin?
We had a few meetings leading up to our ceremony with our actual officiant. We did have premarital. Kind of funny story. We like volunteered because I love therapy. And
therapy, Jill wasn't.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, like I got him to do premarital from a recommendation from my therapist. And so we were doing that. Life was good. And then we like picked our officiant and they were like, oh, premarital is required from us too.
Oh, double. Oh.
So we were in 9 months of premarital.
And Caitlin loved every second of it.
Y'all should be good to go.
Caitlin was like, can we do therapy 3 times a week instead of just 2?
No, you probably write them up now. Like,
yeah, no,
you're like,
Kyle, you're like, maybe I could.
Maybe me.
As soon as we found out about the church required one, we were like,
You stopped paying for one?
Yeah, we were like, all right, yeah, we'll follow up with you soon. And so, yeah, that was required, and that wasn't led by our officiant. And so we did have some meetings. He gave us like some scripts of what the different ceremony styles, and then we personalized it. We picked our readings, we picked our songs. I made Kyle like sit with me and give him a bunch of cocktails and was like, listen to these.
Sit still.
Sit still.
Yeah.
And he picked some. I picked some different ones, and that was our ceremony.
Yeah.
Well, it was great. Speaking as someone who was there.
Thanks for the endorsement. So with other parts of the ceremony, were there any traditions that, like, even just from attending other weddings that you've seen that you thought were really unique or were a good kind of embodiment of the couple?
Yeah, I went to one where their recessional song was The Office, like theme song, and that's like their favorite show.
Yeah.
They met in The Office.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, because I remember asking Gil, I was like, is this because they met in The Office? And he was like, actually, I don't know. I don't know.
That's kind of funny.
But yeah, so that
Typical
was,
Gil.
Yeah, Gil's like,
Not a clue. Why are we here?
I think that's typical man. Like they like come to you and they're like, I have tea, and then they give you one little crumb, and then you ask for more, and they're like, oh, I don't know. I actually don't know. But yeah,
we only spent 5 hours with them.
Yeah.
Don't know.
That was one that I went to, and then I went to another one where his aunt, the groom's aunt, was the officiant. She's like, I got this online.
Yeah.
But she was great. She was like a great public speaker. She clearly knew them very, very well. It was very personalized. I actually really enjoyed that ceremony.
Oh, that's nice.
That's fun.
I had my brother-in-law, his aunt did it, and they did like a few conversations with her. So I feel like his was really like more about talking about the couple, which was like interesting. Like, I feel like, you know what I mean? It was like nice to hear about their little love story. Also, like Eleanor, I talked about her super quick ceremony, but like, I mean, it was just her friend who was a notary, and she read out like a few Beatles lyrics, and Eleanor's mom like emailed them to her. Like, Eleanor did not know it's the Beatles.
That's hilarious.
So Eleanor had no idea. She did not care. She just wanted it to be over quick. And that was really like what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like kind of what you said too, Marsha. Like, we were standing next to you and you were like, it'll be quick. Don't worry. Cause it's a little cold out.
A little chilly. Yeah. I totally forgot this, but Gil's brother married his sister. Like, no, he didn't marry his sister.
Okay. Let's rephrase that.
He was the officiant for Candy Hunter. And
sorry, Gil.
Sorry.
And your brother.
Nothing about incest, but no, I totally forgot that Richard was the officiant for Canty and Hunter. They got married at a beach house.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that was cute.
So, yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, Caitlin, Kyle's best friend has been like the officiant of like a billion weddings, hasn't he?
Yes.
I feel like once you like become a minister, people are like, hey, remember when you became a minister that one time?
Yeah.
Can we do it again?
That one time? Yeah. So he did some of our like core best friends' wedding out west, and he did a really good job. I mean,
I wonder if that does have stuff to do with, though, like not being able to find officiants that you like know or have any relationship with, like, you know,
aren't religious or not part of the church. Like, kind of what's your option?
Right.
You know?
well, yeah, I think that's a good point, because I know one of my friends in Charlotte, her ceremony, like their planner gave them some recommendations, but it was basically just like an officiant from online that they found. He worked with them beforehand, so they got to know each other, but it was kind of like a luck of the draw of we got to watch a few of your YouTube videos of you officiating weddings. But if you don't have somebody that is, you know, if you're not going to the courthouse, if you're not going to a church, like, you really are having to roll up your sleeves and do your own research to find somebody that truly, again, as you said, this is the most important part for the couple.
Yes.
Of like
someone who maybe knows you and like, you want to start your married life with. I mean, how are you supposed to have your past, present, and future
if they don't even
in
know
a ceremony?
Your past, present, or future.
Yeah, they don't know all the losers.
They don't even know where the reception is.
Yeah.
Actually, like, we're like, if Benji can't do it, are we gonna like ask one of our friends? Because he has a couple of friends that have officiated weddings before. This was before Richard got his whatever you have to do.
Married his sister.
Yes, for that incestuous relationship. Just kidding. Sorry.
Just kidding.
Sorry, Nancy. You are not a weirdo. But yeah, so we were like, are we going to ask? Because I think he has a couple of like close friends that have done it. But I know I even brought up one of his friends and he was like, I think he's done it once and he didn't like it. He was really nervous.
Well, it is a lot of responsibility to
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Like I was nervous being Caitlin's maid of honor. Caitlin's matron of honor was so annoyed with me. I was like, can we practice one more time what I'm supposed to do? She was like, you walk down the steps and you get her bouquet. Like,
no, I was the same at Olivia's. I was like, so when do I grab her bouquet? What do I do? Do I have to I was so nervous because I was like, I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Important day of her life.
Yeah. And Caitlin's, I had to walk downstairs and then back up the stairs. And that was like daunting because I'm like, I'm going to fall.
Working overtime.
Something's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just working overtime. But yeah, no, I've heard that. That's one of one of our good friends who has officiated a few weddings. He was like, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was fun with the people,
everyone I bet comes up and talks to you after too at the reception. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
like you're around, especially if you're a friend, you're like there to celebrate.
Yeah.
and like you have to like moderate your drinking.
And like maybe like it's like if there are groomsmen or something or bridesmaids, it's like there's that.
I don't know. I think it's it's a lot of pressure because it's like you have to pretty much memorize what you're going to say up there.
Right.
And actually
Or write it down
and
like practice.
Sean, my brother and Alex, the ceremony that we just had kind of at the quote unquote backyard mountain wedding, since they were already legally married, she asked her brother to be the officiant.
Right.
And so he wasn't.
Did they do a fun tradition like a unity candle?
No, I think they beat yours for sure.
Oh, really? I've never heard.
That's like Eleanor's was like 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah. They did kind of the intro, and then they wrote their own vows, and then they were Mr. and Mrs.
I guess also if you don't have a wedding party, that whole thing takes time, like going, like as far as with short ceremony.
Oh,
yeah.
There was
Did any of you guys write your own vows?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Kind of.
But you wrote private vows.
Yeah.
Oh, did you read them like before?
Well, yeah, I was totally fine writing my own vows. And then my mom went to a wedding 2 months before our wedding and was like, we couldn't hear their vows. We couldn't hear them. They wrote them. And I was like, okay.
Almost like I need to be mic'd. Some good content.
Yeah, my mom was like, she was like, well, you're going to have a microphone so we can all hear your vows. And I was like, I'm not doing my vows for the audience.
Right.
Like I'm doing this for the person, that I'm marrying.
That's so true.
And so then I was like, all right, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. And so we did private vows at our first look.
That's sweet.
And that was sweet.
Yeah.
Did your parents want you to do private or write your own vows?
They didn't have any preference.
Right.
Yeah. But the mic thing, we went to an outdoor wedding.
Yeah.
And they were mic'd. And I remember the officiant was mic'd. And then they weren't, but they didn't write their own vows.
Did the officiant hold the mic?
No. But like, so we could hear the officiant. I was like, in the back for obvious reasons. I feel like I'm always in the back. And
Late.
not late. Actually.
All right, go with the story.
So I could hear the officiant, but I couldn't hear them. But it was fine, because
It's
it wasn't
private. I don't know.
don't really care. But I have been to other weddings where they were literally had a little mic, and I was like, I don't think it's necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on what's important to you.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't need an audience to profess my love.
I feel like one of the only weddings that might have had a microphone ad, I was actually late too, and I was in the back, so I have no idea if they have mics on. I don't really remember.
But what's kind of funny is we had a videographer for our wedding, and Kyle had like a little small mic. You couldn't even see it in the pictures. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think your mic is on. And then I got the raw footage, and it's like me hitting the mic.
Oh my gosh.
Tapping on it.
Yeah. Like, does this thing work? Your mic's off. And I'm like, wait, why? He shouldn't have a mic to begin with.
What's that? After a couple drinks that you tapped on it?
No, it was literally in the ceremony.
Oh my gosh, the ceremony in general, I feel like is a little nerve wracking.
Yeah, it was very nerve wracking.
It's like you're up there, all these people are looking at you.
And walking down the aisle, that was what I was really upset about when I was canceling my original ceremony and stuff and gonna do my other one. I was like, am I gonna wear my wedding dress on Thursday? Because I was like, am I going to have my first look before my reception? But then it's like, what do I want Matthew to see me walking down the aisle in?
Yeah.
Which I thought was just a big thing. And so
Yeah.
And then I was like, am I just going to put it on again, like at the club the next day? Like, that's not special.
Yeah.
So I'm like glad it worked out.
I am too.
Yeah.
I was
Do some stress.
Well, what I was going to do was wear my wedding dress down the aisle and then change at the church.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because I remember I asked you, I was like, are you wearing your wedding? You're like, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask me another question.
We know we touched on traditions and we talked about a few, but just I feel like there's a few that are cute. And I mean, there's so many that are great.
I know.
And
I
think
feel like the internet's your best friend with this stuff.
Yeah.
it really is like, and that's the thing is like when you do Google your ceremony, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's going to
Get
come.
overwhelmed.
Maybe go to the Knot and look up officiants.
Yeah, go look up officiants, but just like Google the different traditions because there's so many. And I feel like when I first thought of it, I thought of the unity candle. I thought of, tying a knot or exchanging Jack and Coke.
Yeah. The wedding her brother and I went to, they did that at the altar. That was pretty funny, but he worked at Coke. So.
Yeah, it was on brand.
Yeah.
That was their present and their future.
Right.
In
Which
the
now
past.
that you say that, now it's all kind of coming to me. I understand what you mean, wanting to have your present, your future, and your past.
Yeah. You just got to bring some personality to it, I think.
Right. Like if you guys have anything that's like special to you together, like look up stuff.
Look up stuff.
Yeah.
Google.
Or DM
Use your
Marshall.
resources like this
DM me. I got you.
Unveiled Opinions podcast.
Yeah. Send us a DM and we'll research for you. We'll take a wedding
Please
quiz for you.
follow, subscribe, rate, review.
Download.
Yes.
Even if the review just says, I'm a bride. Thanks.
2 thumbs up. All right. Well, to close out, for any of our quote unquote, I'm a brides, any advice that you would give to somebody getting started planning their ceremony?
I mean, I think just get started as early as possible. You just don't know what hoops you're going to have to jump through because there's a lot of, like, especially with the Catholic Church, there's a lot of like boxes kind of that I needed to check, meetings that I have to have. So like kind of the quicker I got onto it, I felt like the quicker it was easy to feel organized, even though stuff changes.
Just, to piggyback off that, talk to your significant other.
Yeah.
Because what is important to you might not be important to them or vice versa. So you need to get on the same page as quickly as possible so you can start researching and booking and doing all those planning.
Even though it's so hard to make men sit down for a conversation.
Just to like, hey, do you actually want...
Yeah, you have to like ask him while he's like,
be direct, but like don't go into too much detail. I feel like they might get a little overwhelmed.
Then they tune out.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like we've said this in other areas of wedding planning, but like look at real weddings. Think of real weddings you've been to.
Exactly.
Think about what you liked. Think about what you didn't like.
Yeah, I feel like it's like all your weddings you go to up until your wedding should serve as research purposes.
Yeah.
For us.
Like if it was a July wedding outside and you were so hot, do you want an outdoor wedding in July?
Right.
Would you want to have fans? Like think about
AC.
Yeah.
Do you want AC? Do you not want AC?
Do you want to have a mic for your vows? Do you not?
Yeah. Random things.
People to hear you, hear these things.
Yeah.
Your own.
And also, if you haven't been to a bunch of weddings, that's fine. You know what else? You can watch a bunch on YouTube. Like whenever I used to be just a sad, lonely girl without a boyfriend, I would like watch these wedding videos on YouTube. It's like, cause I would like start watching like an influencers and like the next suggested ones, like, and not they're like,
And it was 5 hours later.
Yeah. And I'm like bawling, crying
Oh God.
for these people I've never met their love.
I watched her YouTube video of her thing. It was literally like an hour of her whole. I watched it each one time. I was like, oh my God, her ceremony was gorgeous. I mean, they were their own vows. I would never, but you get down that rabbit hole, you can get some info.
Yeah. Get on YouTube, you guys. You would.
You'll be hit with it in the face.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Or Google like soldier coming home.
Oh my gosh.
You want to get crap.
Yeah, if you just want to.
You just want to like, oh my God.
You do kind of get emotional sometimes watching other people's wedding videos.
Yeah. I told you I was thinking about one day your wedding.
Right.
Watching, what
I
is
feel
it?
like now I don't get emotional.
Well, that's because you're too close to it. You'll get there. But I literally was watching, what is it, Love is Blind or something?
Oh, yes, you
crying
told
at the
me.
ceremonies, thinking about Mary Lily getting married. Like,
Oh my God, don't.
it'll happen. You're going to get so emotional. You cried at mine.
No, I didn't.
You had a panic attack.
It's kind of the same thing.
During your ceremony, I was like,
Emotions were high.
am I going to make it? Am I doing all the right stuff?
During Olivia's ceremony, my fake eyelash flew off.
Oh no.
When the wind blew right as they kissed. And
Wait, were they all one together? Were they individual?
No, it was an individual.
Oh my God.
So there was
one time my hair popped during someone else's ceremony. My hair type popped and the bridesmaid next to me ripped out the ribbon from a program and tied my hair up in a ribbon. Because
Oh my
it was
gosh.
That's a real
slicked
one.
back.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It the hair tie just popped.
No, all I could focus on was the little eyelash fluttering on the ground. And our friend Kat was like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's an eyelash.
Don't worry about
Don't worry about it."
Yeah, during the ceremony, you just like stop, drop, and roll with all
Yeah.
the stuff happening. You're like,
Yeah.
just roll with it.
Just roll
There's a
with
lot going on. But honestly,
It's
I feel
always
like as a
fun.
bride, you don't really know what's
You
going
have
on.
No clue.
Well, also, I feel like there are going to be mess ups no matter what. Like everyone
Yeah.
only hopefully is getting married twice. No one's got that much practice, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You have your starter.
it doesn't really matter. Like you can mess things up in the ceremony.
Yeah.
It actually just makes it more real.
I agree.
Yeah.
And gives you something to talk about.
Yeah. What would we have to do if we weren't here giggling about other ceremonies and the eyelashes and the
Gil stuttering over for a report.
Exactly.
That's a sign, so you don't want to be part.
you better work harder. You better get that second job.
Job, Gil.
All right. Well, that's a wrap.
Woo!
Until next time, girls.
Follow us, like us, subscribe, rate, review. Bye.
Bye.